Hey guys, in this little orientation video, I want to talk about a couple of things that are going to be really important to make Kids Camp just the best ever. First of all, we want to thank you for being a part of Kids Camp. We could not do it without you. Our volunteers are who makes it happen, and we thank you for applying to be a volunteer this year at camp. I want to remind you of the two reasons we do Kids Camp. First of all, we do it to help kids discover God. We wanted kids to have a uniquely conservative, holiness Christian summer camp experience. Summer camps are really popular in America, whether it's a riding camp or a band camp or whatever. And we wanted kids to have a really neat summer camp experience with barrel train rides and the campfire and the cabins and water battles and all the things that kids really, really love. And we wanted to just let them know that Christians know how to have a really, really good time. That just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't have fun. We want some of the best memories of their entire life to happen right there at Kids Camp. But really, that's just the icing on the cake. The meat of the matter is that we want them to discover God. We want them to come into a real living relationship with God, so we're very intentional about the 5 services that are a part of each kids camp. We ask our children's evangelists to open the altar because we want kids to come to a point of decision to serve God, and we've had that happen. So when it comes to the services, we want you to take them seriously as well. We don't want you on your phone. We don't want you chatting with your neighbor. We don't want you just sort of sitting there. We want you to participate, to stand, to act, the actions of the song, to listen to the story. And yes, we have people to help control the crowd, but if you see Johnny or Susie and they are being bad in church, we want you to make sure that you help with them, okay? So we're very serious about the spiritual side, helping kids discover God. The second aspect is we want to help you. We want to help you be active in the kingdom of God. We believe with all of our heart that young people need to be active right now. Yes, you should go into Bible college. Yes, you should gain experience and you should do more things for God. But until you've gotten that experience and until you have gotten some age on you and some miles on the odometer, we want you to be active in the kingdom of God. Kids Camp is a way that you can learn leadership skills. It's a way that you can test out those skills. You say, I don't have any. Well, you know what? After you lead a team of 7 to 11-year-olds or you help referee a game, you might find out that you have more skills than you thought you had. And so, Kids Camp is a way that you can become active in the kingdom of God. We want you to go home to your home churches and plug into the children's ministry to help with the bus route, to help start a bus route, to clean the church, to do whatever it is that is needed at your home church. And we hope that Kids Camp inspires you to get active in the kingdom of God. Because life is about serving God. Life is about finding the joy of serving Jesus, and there is no greater reward on this earth. Now, let's talk about safety. Kids do really stupid things. Make no mistakes about it. They don't have all the critical thinking skills. They cannot see down the road and say, if I do this, I will get hurt. And so we have to be their parents while their parents are not with them. We have to be the eyes and ears looking out for their safety. So if Johnny's on the cabin roof, he needs to come down, and you need to prevent Johnny from getting on the cabin roof. They'll run toward a moving tractor. If they've got the tetherball around their neck, you got to stop them. And so it doesn't matter if they're on your team or if they're in your jurisdiction. If you see a kid doing something unsafe, we need to kindly encourage them to do something else. And if you need to physically save someone in a moment, do that. Thank you for looking out for their physical safety. We want to be concerned for their emotional safety. Kids are very tender, and they're also very brutal to one another. So we want to prevent bullying. We want to encourage those who are lonely. We want to be a friend to them. We want to encourage those who maybe are not as athletic and maybe a little more shy. We want everyone to have a good time at Kids Camp, and so let's be building them up. Let's not tear them down. Let's lift them up, and we have a key role as coaches and staff to do that. In a crazy world that we live in today, sexual abuse is prevalent. And so at Kids Camp, we take sexual abuse prevention very, very seriously. And there's a couple basic ways that we do that. First of all, if there is someone on campus who's not supposed to be there, we need to know why, okay? No one is allowed to take a child off of campus without permission, okay? So if a guy shows up and says, hey, I'm this kid's dad, and wants to go, we don't know that that's the kid's dad. And And even so, maybe it's a divorce situation and he's been an abuser and he doesn't have custody of the child. So we need to check with Sarah Seeley, the registrar, with myself. Children should never leave campus without permission. You never give a child permission to leave campus. We need to know who's on campus. This is not a public event. Someone may come in, a few people may come in for an evening service, and that's fine in that setting. But in general, people are not supposed to be on the campus. And so if you see somebody you do not recognize, you need to approach them and say, hey, how can I help you? What are you doing here today? Be polite about it, but we need to be firm. This is not just open for anybody to come. And anybody that does not have their background checks and is not supposed to be there must leave the campus. And so that's one way we help to prevent abuse. We also do our best in screening our junior staffers to make sure that they are people of upright Christian character and have no ill intent. We do the same with our adult staff, but we add the layer of Pennsylvania child abuse clearance background check and also a Pennsylvania State Police background check. We try to make sure that everybody is above board. We do our best. If for some reason somebody with ill intentions would slip into the camp, we want them to know that if they were ever to harm a child, we would prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Jesus said that it would be better for a millstone to be hung around someone's neck and be drowned in the sea. That's Jesus saying that. And we believe that. And so we take the protection of these children very, very seriously. Now, if, God forbid, you would ever see some instance of child abuse and you know it happened and you saw it happen and you can confirm that, you are legally required to call the Pennsylvania State Child Abuse Hotline. Just Google that. You'll find it very easily. And so if you see that someone was abused for some reason, you need to call and report that to the appropriate authorities and then report it to me. Now, if it's something questionable and you don't know what you saw and you've got questions, then you've got to come talk to us about it. We don't want to report something unnecessarily, but make no mistake, if it's a clear incident of abuse, which I hope never happens, but if, God forbid, it ever were to happen, we must report it to the appropriate authorities. But in general, let's just be watchful. Let's be aware and very sensitive to and aware of this potential, and so we need to make sure that we're just keeping an eye out and keeping these kids safe. Another area of safety is when it comes to medicine. We have to make sure that these children do not get their hands on medicine. So if you have medicine, you're a staff member, you've brought that, you need to keep that in a safe location where a child cannot access that. And if the child says, hey, I've got a headache, I need a Tylenol, we take them to the camp nurse. We do not give medicine to the children ourselves. The camp nurse administers the medicine. There's a process. There's a form they have to fill out. There is a process for prescriptions that a child may be taking, and that all is done ahead of time with the camp nurse. And so as a staff member, if you're not a part of the medical team, you should not give medicine to a child for any reason. Really, this is common sense. All of these safety areas are really just a matter of common sense, and so let's use our heads and let's do our best to keep these kids really, really safe. Now, let's talk about attire. We don't have a uniform for you at Kids Camp, but we do have a basic dress code that we do ask you to follow and we do enforce. Men staff members are to wear long, modest pants. We don't want you in tiny, skinny jeans, and we do not want you in shorts. Please wear modest pants with a modest shirt. We do not need to see your rippling and bulging muscles. And so, please keep yourself covered and keep sleeves at or below the elbow. Thank you for observing that, fellows. Ladies, we ask that you wear a long, modest skirt or dress that is modest in every way and that its length is well below the knee when sitting, okay? Don't be trying to just, barely cover your knees when you're sitting. Make sure that your skirt or dress is well below the knee when you are sitting down. Also, your skirt or blouse should be modest and should have sleeves at or below the elbow. Thank you, ladies, for observing this. No jewelry or makeup of any kind is permitted at Kids Camp, and in the evening services, staff members are encouraged to dress up, even if it's something simple, gentlemen, as a khakis with a button-up shirt. That's fine. But we want you to dress up a little bit for those services, and I just think that's a good example for the kids, and many of them do dress up as well. So that's a little word about attire. Thank you for your careful attention in that. Now, let's talk about the attitude when it comes to competition, to work ethic. Your attitude needs to be one of complying with authority. You must learn, all of us must learn to come under authority. And so as we're coming into this team, there are things that may be done differently than we would do. But the point is that we're coming together as a team. And so in your attitude, make sure that you respect authority, that you respect the referees. It may be your best friend. It may be somebody younger than you, that you feel, why do they have the authority? Well, that's their job. And so we need to learn, as the Bible says, to submit ourselves one to another. In your attitude, be kind and respectful to other staff members. You may not interact with that other staff member. You may not be friends with them. Don't just group up in your own little group, though. One of the joys of serving God is that we can become friends when we work together. I'll just tell you this little story. Nathan Seeley and I were not exactly friends in college. We were sort of frenemies, if you will. We picked on each other a lot, played a lot of pranks, and really drove each other crazy. Today, we help to lead kids camp, and we are friends, and we are team members together, and God has blessed that working relationship that we have. I want to encourage you when you come to kids camp, don't just interact with the 3 friends that you know and that you're tight with, okay? Branch out, because you guys may serve together on a church board someday. You may serve together on a conference board. You may work together in an office someday. And so there's a real skill in learning to get outside of your social circle and to interact with people that are maybe not in your on your natural wavelength. And we all have that. We all have people that we generally connect with. And so just keep that in mind. When it comes to the kids, we've talked about uplifting them and building them up. Do that. When it comes to competition, make sure you don't drive them too hard. Make sure you don't argue with the referees. If there's a disagreement, we do it privately, quietly, in a little huddle. We do not argue and fight in front of the kids. It's a bad example. Use your head, and we will not tolerate that. And thankfully, we have had very, very little trouble with that, and we are grateful for that. When it comes to physical interaction, we are grateful that guys and girls like each other, okay? We strongly encourage that. That's God's design and plan. And so we allow dating couples to come to camp. We have no problem. We do have a couple of policies that we want you to observe. First of all, no physical interaction. We don't want you touching each other. We don't want you holding hands, kissing, sitting super, super close, all that kind of thing. Just something we want you to leave sort of off the radar at kids camp, okay? So we just don't want you doing that. You can be together. We don't want you off by yourself. At night, there will be a couple of designated areas. I don't want to necessarily say in case it changes, but typically it's the dining center and the campfire and maybe one other place where the staff get together after the kids have gone to bed, and we have a great time talking and fellowshipping, so no problem there. No going off campus without permission. If you need something, please check in with us. We may be able to get it for you. If you're a junior staffer under the age of 18, the odds are you will not be leaving campus except in the bus on Thursday night when we all go out. Those of us who can get away from campus and don't have responsibilities at night, a lot of times we will go out and get ice cream or something at McDonald's. So just keep those things in mind. Do not leave campus without permission. And if you're an adult, if you're 25 years old, we do ask that you would check in with myself, with Aaron, or with Nathan and Sarah Seeley, just so we know where everyone's at. We don't want to need you for a job or want to call on you for some responsibility and you're gone and we have no idea where you're at. We need to know where one another is at. And so when I leave campus, I tell one of them, hey, I got to run into town and get supplies. I need to do this. And so just that extra layer of communication is really, really beneficial. And if you're a junior staffer, you cannot leave without permission. Thanks, guys, so much for being a part of Kids Camp. We are looking forward to the best Kids Camp ever. We want to set another attendance record. We want to do our very best to see that the services are good and that there is eternal results. Thanks for being a part. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you soon.